Hi, it's Anne-Marie from Charmed Life Therapy. I've got a croaky voice this morning. I've been travelling, so it's a bit awkward for me to make videos. But I have to chip in, obviously, with what's happened in the Blake Lively Justin Baldoni lawsuit. And I'll probably do this over more than one video. But I don't really want people to get, to feel a sense of defeat. Because one of the things that I think is that Bryan Freedman was aware there was kind of failings in what he'd presented so far. And what we seem to have heard in this is that the judge has said, well, you've told me over and over and again that you could change this and you could change that, but you clearly haven't. So clearly you can't, in a way. So my feeling is Bryan Freedman may well have been aware that this could happen. He may have been aware that it was a thing. And what I kind of want to say is, it's not dead in the water. We have to wait and see now whether Blake is going to continue with her own lawsuit. And it might be a good thing, in a way, that she's so giddy with this victory and she's feeling so righteous and so empowered. So she may well continue with her lawsuit. And the thing is, Justin can still defend himself against all of the things. He just, is doing it from a different perspective, I guess, if you like. But it's not that he can't bring in the things that have happened. He's still going to be able to bring in the events, the proof. So that's the thing. So kind of my hope, in a way, is at this point in time that Blake is so giddy on the victory, if you like, the victory they've claimed for themselves, where they're talking as if they've beaten it all and all of that. My hope is that she decides to go the whole hog. The judge hasn't touched anything to do with 47.1 because basically he's saying, well, I'm dismissing the retaliation aspect of it, if you like. So there's, he said, yeah, I've seen there's amicus briefs that have come in, but haven't looked at them, and here I am, I'm dismissing kind of what you would call Justin's retaliation aspect of it anyway. So that's kind of by the by. So yeah, kind of my message to you today is to try and not get too disheartened about it all. Because the thing is, the judge has kind of proved with this that he's not going to attempt to put two and two together. He's not going to be thinking about, well, them doing this made that difficult for him, and hence that then happened. He's not going to do that whatsoever. So we kind of need to get that out of our heads. He wants it to be put in very simple terms with proof what happened. He doesn't really want to know about emotions at all. And that is kind of our problem on the other side of it, because obviously we're all emotions, all fairness, all injustice, and we're all putting ourselves in Justin's place and thinking about what that would feel like, and the judge is not going to do any of that. And that was always the problem with this thing, and the problem that happens when you do run up against the law, because the law is not an emotional animal. So kind of you have to think differently in that terms and not get upset about things like these losses or perceived losses. It would seem Blake's put out a statement again backing up this idea of her representing all women and all of this, and how vindicated she is and how she speaks for all of us and all of that, which of course has had everybody rushing to the toilet with their finger down the throat and the rest of it. But yeah, what I would like to take forward from it for myself is that this isn't necessarily unexpected from Bryan Freedman's perspective. It doesn't mean that Justin will have treble damages lodged against him or any of that. All of that is to be determined. Whether he will actually appeal this is to be determined, but I think most people are saying he probably won't. But he has still got the two causes of action that he can go forward on. So this is going to be very interesting, because that involves the contract, which we've had, Blake's contract for the movie, which we've still never seen, and she never attached to her original complaint or her lawsuit. So that in itself might be a very interesting thing. That what kind of was enraging, infuriating, I guess, about all of this is this aspect of the judge is kind of acknowledging that Blake Lively did a ton of shady things to Justin in terms of making him capitulate to all kinds of things. Otherwise, she wouldn't do X, Y, Z. But the problem is, because he did capitulate, there's no proof of what she would have done had he not. And he's not taking the fact. The judge isn't. The judge is kind of saying, you shouldn't have stood up for yourself in a way. I think that's kind of what's annoying people, because what we all feel is that the only time she made good on these threats in a way was when Justin refused to take accountability for all the negative press that came out about Blake when they were trying to push him to make that statement, saying he was man enough to take accountability for all the bad things that happened on the set and all the bad press that Blake received. That was the only time we've kind of had evidence, I guess, in a way, of what would happen when Justin pushed back against Blake. But the judge isn't accepting that. And that's kind of like a bit weird to all of us, I think, because they think, well, yeah, but surely you can see. But he's saying, no, I'm not interested in projections and bringing my gut feelings into it and all of that. It's like I want it in very specific terms, to the letter of law. Where's the piece of legislature and all of this that backs up and all of that. So our feelings kind of are relevant in this way, and that is the thing for us, is because emotion will always be logic in your everyday life. Your feelings about something will always be a bit of legal jargon, if you like. You're not interested in the logic of something when your emotions are engaged, and all of our emotions are engaged in this. I mean, as two lawyers, they keep coming a bit of a cropper, don't they? Because they're trying to keep it very logical, very factual, and try to give Blake Lively the benefit of the doubt that she is kind of this good person at heart. And we're all going, no, she is not a good person. We know better than that, and I think they're kind of... But this is what happens as well. I was saying to somebody the other day in my comments, when you try to always be the devil's advocate and you always try to bring logic into it, that doesn't work either. But my kind of feeling about what might happen next, what I would like to happen next, is, of course, don't forget, we still know that Justin was keeping track of what was happening on that set, and he was keeping some kind of log of events, and he's the one that's got all of the footage. He's still got all of the footage. So the sexual harassment thing is still in play, unless she dismisses her lawsuit. And because he's still got these two avenues in place to proceed with his own case, she's not, even if she comes and dismisses her own thing, because whatever, he's still got his own way back in. And I just think Bryan Freedman has not necessarily not been expecting this to happen, but he's busy behind the scenes. It's like I've always said, he's busy behind the scenes trying to fathom where he takes this, because there's the whole Van Sham thing still too. And people are aware of the lawsuit, but we still haven't seen the wording on that subpoena. That subpoena hasn't been presented. So there's still discovery to be done. There's all this business with Blake's contract. There's the business with Van Sham. So it's not the end. So don't be taking it on the chin that this is some kind of massive victory for Blake Lively, because it isn't yet. We're a long way from that. There's a lot more going on. If it were me, I think I'd just throw caution to the wind and release absolutely everything that I had. Because the thing is, the judge is basically saying they can say anything they like about you as long as they believe it. Now, we know, due to all of this stuff, that Blake and Ryan do not think like normal people, and they choose to believe what they want to believe. So Ryan can choose to believe that Justin's a predator. I mean, this is what I'm saying. This is people's problem with the judge, if you like, in effect. because he's saying, well, it may be that he had every right to believe from what his wife said that Justin Baldoni was a sexual predator. But we know that Ryan knows that his wife lies and doesn't tell the truth. And we know that that Ryan was on that set and saw things that he didn't like that Blake was doing, that he probably found inappropriate in relation to Justin and the level of closeness his wife had with Justin. So we know, but the judge isn't going to look for all of that. He wants you to literally spell it all out. So he's not interested in what things look like or what somebody thought or whether somebody could trust his own wife. He's just looking at it in as two lawyers' terms, if you like, very black and white. He's a man married to a woman. He has every right to believe what his wife says. But we know that any man who truly believed that his wife had been sexually aired or hitched, I keep saying it when I'm not supposed to say it, would his normal reaction be to go on SNL and make a joke of it? Would his normal reaction be to go off on his own movie and create Nice Pool? That's not normal, is it? But the judge kind of isn't looking at all of that. He's not interested in Nice Pool. He's basically saying Nice Pool is Ryan's opinion of somebody that was a bit nefarious or something like that. But he's not. So, yeah, all of that, which is what we all know and love and get feisty about. The judge is just not looking at that. It's very black and white. But just bear in mind that Justin, I believe, and Bryan and all of that still have an awful lot of material that they can work with. And maybe it won't be a legal win. Maybe it'll be a different kind of win. And we maybe just need to keep an open mind about all of that. So I just wanted to do a quick video right now, so it just didn't look like I'd disappeared. I've literally travelled from Caithness down to Leeds, and I've still got a bit of onward travel to do. I'm staying in England for a little bit to help somebody out, so I've yet to figure out how I'm going to film and how I'm going to work and all of that. And it's just typical that this happened right in the middle of it, and I wasn't even aware of it till after the fact. But yeah, try not to get disheartened. Because I think there's still a million ways this could get very, very interesting, if you like. Yeah, so I will see you later. Please do hit that like and subscribe and share if you can, and drop me a comment below, or if you need a hug, just let me know. See you later.